Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. All right, so I'm going to cover the Moscow situation, the unalivings. I know there's a ton of information. Like I said, I have been following it. I just hadn't done any videos on it, so I'm going to kind of just do a basic overview of it. And then I'm going to go through. Brian Enton sort of did a really possible way that this situation may have happened. The unaliver may have done the crime, and there's of course some layouts. So I'm going to kind of go through some of that stuff and some of the information that is still pending in this case. But before I get into all that, I always like to feature a missing persons poster on the channel. So let me pull up today's missing persons poster. Today's missing person is Keanu Tadacheene, 24 years old, from California, Los Angeles, California. It states that he's a male Native American, black hair, brown eyes, 5'9", weight is 195 pounds, date of birth is 8/3 of 98. Keanu was last seen at the Los Angeles airport on November 30th of 2022. Keanu's family is very concerned for his safety. If you have seen or have any information regarding the whereabouts of Keanu, please contact the Los Angeles Police Department's Missing Persons Unit at 213-996-1800. During non-business hours or on weekends, calls should be directed to 877-LAPD. Anyone wishing to remain anonymous should call the Los Angeles Regional Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS. That's 800-222-8477. Or you can go directly to lacrimestoppers.org. If you have any information on Keanu out of Los Angeles, please contact the LAPD. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go over the timeline. This also is really good. It went through some of the layout of the home. I've kind of gotten a good idea of it, but I know there's some folks that have really gone intense into it. So, but let me start pulling up the basic timeline of what we do know of what was going on. So the timeline, of course, begins on Saturday, November 12th. On the night of Saturday, November 12th, Gonzalez and Mogan, lifelong best friends, went out to the Corner Club bar in downtown Moscow from 10 p.m. To 1:30 p.m., according to Moscow police. Meanwhile, Chapin and Kernoodle, who were dating, went to the Sigma Chi house Saturday night, police said. They also got home about 1:45 a.m., according to police. Chapin did not live at the house but was sleeping over with his girlfriend. At about 1:40 p.m., the duo was seen, this is the two girls, were seen on video at the Grub Truck, a local food vendor, and they used a private party for a ride home. They got back home about 1:45 a.m., according to police. So there was rumors that it was an Uber or what have you. It was not an Uber. It was a private person that just brought them home. There's a man seen in the surveillance video at the Grub Truck, and the person who drove them home are not considered suspects according to authorities. So there was a guy in a hoodie that they was kind of following them. It seemed like he arrived to the Grub Truck with them, and he kind of wandered around, and there was a point one of the girls yelled at him and said some curse words at him, and according to police, they are not considering him a suspect at this point. Of course, this is an open case. If they're telling us that they're cleared, no one's truly going to be cleared until they have the killer or killers. That's the bottom line. And then, of course, the other two roommates that survived the attacks, they got home apparently around 1 a.m. According to them. Okay, then we move to Sunday. Sunday, November 13th, it is believed the four students were unalived in the home between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. on November 13th. Moscow Mayor Art Buttigieg told ABC News. A dog was also at the home, according to law enforcement, and they have stated the dog was found in another part of the home. Did not have any blood on the dog. Didn't look like he went through any of the crime scene. So the dog was sent to animal control, and I believe a vet checked it out. And then it went to the ex-boyfriend who had custody. They, I guess, shared custody of the dog. So it's the dog is safe and apparently had no, part of it, and apparently it didn't bark, or if it barked, no one heard it bark. Moscow Police Chief James Fry called it an isolated, targeted attack. The two surviving roommates were in the basement and slept through the unalivings. Now, I've seen them post, at least one of them post on socials. They stated that when they're in that basement level, you cannot hear anything in the second and third level of the home. So apparently, it's pretty soundproof, but that's what I did read one of them mention in one of the Facebook groups that she came on there. On the morning of November 13th, the two roommates called friends over to their house because they thought one of the victims on the second floor had passed out and wasn't waking up, police said. At 11:58 a.m., a 911 call from one of the roommates' phones requested help for an unconscious person, police said. The 911 caller's identity has not been released, but police said multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher. So apparently the two girls, or at least one of the girls, called some friends over, which of course is not ideal for a crime scene, but they called them over. uh, but that's what happened, and eventually the authorities did arrive, paramedics and police. So let's go to the next slide. Sunday, November 13th continued. Responding officers found the four victims on the second and third floors. Authorities said they do not believe anyone at the house at the time of the 911 call was involved in the unaliving. So at this point, they've still supposedly cleared everyone, the two roommates that survived and the friends that arrived on the scene. And then police also said they don't believe the male Gonzalez and Mogan uh, tried to contact numerous times. Oh, okay. The mail that the Gonzalez and Morgan tried to contact numerous times on November 13th is involved. So they were making phone calls. I believe it's to Jack. There's two Jacks, though. It gets a little confusing. So they don't believe that that particular person is involved at this point. Although I know there's rumors that the ex-boyfriend, Jack, has left the country and gone to Africa. I have no idea if that's true or not. And let's put it this way: if he left the country or left the area, I don't blame him. It regardless, but and I'm sure that the authorities are quite aware of his location. I really think they are. So they're going to know where he is at. Anybody, and I'm sure they still know where their roommates are all the time. So just because everyone's quote unquote cleared doesn't really mean they're cleared until this case has got a good suspect and gone from there. Okay, Thursday, November 17th, autopsies conducted on November 17th determined all victims were stabbed multiple times. The four students were probably asleep when attacked, and some had defensive wounds, police said. There's no signs of SA. So, and I know the one father, he's been saying that his daughter got the most, wounds, so she was fighting, according to, I believe it was the coroner that told him that. But again, I mean, it's hard to know. I guess they still don't know who was attacked first. I would have thought they would have known that, but they may know it and they may not just be telling anybody that. So I'm hoping they're keeping some of this information, sealed, because they're going to need to have that information to confirm the identity of the real suspect. And they don't really want to release everything. That's just not a good plan. And, obviously they know that. Then we jump to Monday. The family of 20-year-old victim Ethan Chapin held his memorial service on November 21st. Chapin is a triplet, was born right before his sister and brother, who also attended the University of Idaho. Chapin was one of the most incredible people you'll ever know, his mother, Stacy Chapin, told reporters before his memorial service. The 20-year-old lived his best life at college, his obituary said. He loved the social life, intramurals, and tolerated the academics. He laughed continuously. He smiled when he woke up and was still smiling when he went to bed, his obituary said. He was kind to all and a friend to all. Yeah, I heard his mom talking. It was both of the parents, but mom seemed to be doing the majority of the talking. And he sounded like he was a really, really nice guy. And sad that all these guys, these are kids. They're taken obviously far too soon. So let me pull up the next one. All right, Monday, November 28th. In a November 28th interview, Gonzalez's father, Steve Gonzalez told ABC News that the students died quickly and did not bleed for hours, so an earlier 911 call would have not saved their lives. Again, Steve has been, and his family, his daughter, they've been the most vocal out of all these four families. And I feel for him, and I guess some of the other families are starting to speak out now. He's definitely, his family, you could tell they're definitely not the quiet type, but at the same time, they want to know stuff, but the police need to also be careful to keep certain things, close to the cuff, so they make sure that this case is tight, and they get their man or men or women or whoever they are. Nobody suffered and nobody felt like that kind of pain, Steve said. This grieving dad said he's feeling a little defeated and frustrated by the lack of transparency from police, but still supports and trusts the law enforcement officers who are diligently working on the investigation. I have to assume and hope that this is all part of their plan and they've got this all figured out, he said. I know there's some really good, hardworking guys and girls that are on this case that I've met. And they looked me in the eyes and they told me straight out they're working and they're doing everything in their power. Yeah, I believe they are. I think that the local department may not be experienced in this sort of thing because obviously this is not they don't have this is like an unaliving that they've never seen something like this before, a mass crime of this sort. But they've got, federal involved. So they have, some good people working with them on this case. Then we move to Wednesday, November 30th. Grieving families and classmates gathered at the University of Idaho on November 30th for a candlelight vigil. Ethan Chapman's mother, Stacy Chapman, cried as she told mourners, "We are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. That's the most important message that we have for you and your families, to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back." Madison Mogen's dad, Ben Mogen, said his only child was a hard worker, nice to everybody, and was smart, funny, and beautiful. Okay, and there's one more to get us caught up to December. Okay, Wednesday, November 30th continued. Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen, inseparable best friends since the 6th grade. Unalive together in the same room, in the same bed, Steve Gonzalez said at the vigil. The unaliving weapon, which police believe was a fixed blade knife, has not been found. Steve Gonzalez and the victim suffered, quote, large punctures from a, quote, brutal weapon. The detective said this weapon is probably something the unaliver paid money for and is something they're proud of. So that is something big, and I know they mentioned it might be some big hunting knife or that sort of thing. I mean, from what I understand, like a stabbing, especially a stabbing of that, all these people, a stabbing is generally like a pretty personal crime. So I think that this person or persons knew at least one of these victims, if not all of them. That's of course my opinion, but I think they were known to this person, and I also think this person knew this home pretty well, because otherwise I don't think they would have gotten in there. So I think they knew the home and they knew these girls. And of course the boyfriend wasn't supposed to be there. He just happened to be spending the night. Okay, so this is the Daily Mail. I do have some of these, and I'm actually going to pull up to the house, the outside. A lot of you guys have seen the the three levels, because the other one was added. It was an addition to the back here. But this is the basic breakdown, of course, of the home. This is like levels 1 and 2, and then you have the top floor. So it seems like there's 2 bedrooms, and then you have a kitchen down, the floor. So I mean, I think there was 2 bedrooms on each floor, from what I understand. So there was a total of 6 rooms in each, in the home to be rented out. So Daily Mail is stating that they can reveal where each of the unalived University of Idaho students were found stabbed in their off-campus rental house back on November 13th. Blueprints and layout plans of the Moscow, Idaho home obtained by Daily Mail can reveal the three-story property has 2 bedrooms on each floor, with the unalivings taking place on the top 2 floors. So uh, the basement floor, which is the first floor, apparently it's like the basement level. So they would enter, and they're believing that the suspect entered from the sliding glass doors. And I'll have to show you guys a photo of that. Some of you probably have already seen that. And they believe that's how they got into the home, and that would have been the second floor. Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, both 21, were found unalived in their beds on the third floor. That's a little deceiving. They were in Madison's bed. Kaylee was not in her bed. While young college couple Ethan Chapman and Xana Kernodle, both 20, were found in the front second floor bedroom. Surviving roommates, sophomores Dylan Morgeston and Bethany Funk, slept in the first floor bedrooms, which suggests the unaliver entered through a sliding glass door that leads from the outdoor patio to the kitchen. The floor plan shows that the unaliver could have gone through the kitchen, the foyer, and the living room. So here we go, because I have these photos, but they have them here. So like I said, the first floor is here, where you see like the Jeep and the vehicles. So that would have been the floor that the 2 surviving roommates were sleeping. And then you have the second and third floor where the 4 victims lost their lives. So the 2 girls together and the couple together. And of course, he didn't live there. So he was just spending the night with his girlfriend. And then here's the floor plan again. There's a new roof system over the existing house. Like I said, they expanded it. Uh, so you've got, bedrooms. This is basically the layout. That's the second floor. And then the first floor, I believe, is pretty similar to that. Then you've got the top floor right there, third floor. So you got them, these are the victims right here. You got Ethan and Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. All beautiful young lives. So this would have been the beginning when they were starting the investigation. So it's another good view of the home. This is from where they would have pulled into park. And then this is basically toward the back view. And you can see the sliding glass doors are going to be on the second and the third floors, because the first floor is further forward. That does not go to the back where the sliders are. So that's why they believe that he got in here, she or them got in through that sliding glass door on the second level. And there's another blueprint. This is the second floor where they believe that it's we're all guessing that they got in. So where they're guessing that they got in. So this would have been, you have the laundry, the slider, let's see, the living room. So this would have been right here, back here, toward the top, I believe. Yeah, right here. So, and then showing again the new roof system over existing house, and then you've got 2 more bedrooms there. And those are the 2 best friends and the young couple. Just showing some photos here of the victims. Okay, so let me pull up. Brian Enton just did a really great video um, to, where he's guesstimating how the crime happened. He's the possible way the crime happened. Okay, so News Nation and Brian Enton, they have been really amazing at covering this case. I go to News Nation for a good deal of my information because I think it's some of the best out there. So he's been out there, and I believe he went home and then he came back because he actually lives in Florida. So this is going to be quite a change in weather and temperature for Brian Ensign. So he went out there again. He's been reporting, and he did a retracing a possible route that the Idaho Unaliver may have walked. So let's check that out.
Thank you, Chris Cuomo. You know, it's really hard to get inside the head of a killer, but it might be possible to put yourself in his footsteps. Earlier, we looked at the route that a killer would have had to take if he were driving to the crime scene. But what if he arrived on foot? What if he left the same way? News Nation's Brian Ensign retraced how he may have disappeared into the night on foot.
Ashley, at the beginning of the show, we showed you how the killer may have drove in, what the roads are like in this area, and there's only one way in and one way out. But if you were on foot, it's easier to get in and out. Not so much from the back, because I showed you at the beginning of the show, there's a wooded area, there's sort of a steep incline back there, and then more houses, and there's these fences. Some of the other houses on the side are fenced in. But if you left the front of the house, you wouldn't have to walk down the road the way we drove in. You could cut through, and this is what a lot of the students do that we've seen coming and going. There's this little walkway that cuts through between a big apartment building and a couple of houses on this side. And this is the way a lot of the kids go to class or go to the fraternity houses. They walk down this little pathway in between the buildings, and they come out to this parking lot right here. So you bypass that whole road that we drove in on, and you end up here in this parking lot, and then you've got access to the main drag here. You've got the field, band field, which we've been talking about, and then there's the Sigma Chi house. So you're pretty much out at the campus just within maybe like 30 seconds by taking that little shortcut, Ashley.
Brian Ensign, just absolutely fascinating. Thank you for that. And thank you.
Okay, so let me pull up his drive-in of that particular situation as well. All right, so here is Brian Ensign driving up to the home where the 4 college students were unalived, and this is really good stuff. Besides the way he walked it, because for anybody that doesn't live there, this gives you a really good perspective here.
Escaped. There are only so many scenarios, and tonight we're going to give you an exclusive look. First, our senior national correspondent, Brian Ensign, retracing the route that the killer would have to have taken if he drove that night to 1122 King Road.
So we're on Taylor Avenue right now. This is sort of a somewhat busy road between the Sigma Chi fraternity and where the murder house happened. There's a lot of apartment buildings, houses, a lot of kids going to and from. And then you turn onto this road here, which is King Road. This is actually the road that the house is on. I want to show you because it's dark out, so it's good perspective. But there's houses all over the place, both sides of the street here. Lights on, you see students coming and going all the time, walking around. Not a quiet place by any means, even at night. A lot of snow, dark in some areas, but a lot of traffic. I turn here, we're gonna get close to the murder house up here on the right, but you can see houses on both sides of the street again. There's media out here now, but again, normally the neighbors tell me there's a lot of people walking around, not necessarily a lot of cars. You look to the right here, this is the house where the murders happened. Big driveway in front, room for a lot of cars. I'm gonna kind of get a little speed here because it's very snowy and icy. People have to go fast to get up the road. But right when you come around the corner here next to the house where the murders happened, there's a big apartment building on the left with at least 20 or 30 units. So again, a lot of people coming and going. Remind you, house where the murder happened is on the right here. And then we come up, I find this very interesting. This is a big parking lot, literally right behind the house where the murders happened. This would be a place where, look, I got stuck here. I was telling you, the snow, it's hard to get up these. Let me see if I can get up. All right, I'm stuck. I'm gonna stop for a minute though. Parking lot, this is a place where someone could have stopped to come and go from the back of the house. A little bit wooded here behind the parking lot, but right on the top of that hill. It's not like a forest or anything. There's more houses up there. So this isn't like an area where there'd be a ton of places to hide. Again, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of apartments, a lot of houses. This is how you would have gotten in or out in a car. I'm going to show you at the end of the show more of how someone might get in or out on foot. Ashley?
That's just fantastic information, Brian. Thank you for that.
So I want to thank Brian Enton and News Nation and Banfield, Ashley Banfield, of course, because News Nation, I'm constantly thankful that I can use their reporting and what they go out and do, because this is exclusive from Brian Enton. And this really shows the area, like for those of us that have, we're only seeing photos and some video. I mean, this is giving us a perfect view of how you would approach this home, what's around this home. I mean, this is really a great work by Brian Ensign. And I thought that there was more wooded area in the back where there was really nothing back there for quite some ways, but that's not true. I mean, there's a parking lot in the back, like he said, and then there's homes further, not very further back from that, and then of course there's apartments and other homes right around there. So it's definitely a populated area. And then with college kids coming in and out constantly, like he said, they do drive, but they walk a lot because they're the fraternity houses are not far off and that sort of thing. And they might walk. I mean, I guess they might be driving more in a certain kind of weather like this, but he said they're always in and out constantly. So that's surprising. It takes a lot of you know, takes a lot of guts to get out there. And I mean, even if if this truly happened at like 3 or 4 in the morning, these are college kids, so they're out late. So that's definitely not like, you know, a strange hour that you might have college kids walking around. So again, thanks to Brian Enton and News Nation. Okay, so I'm going to go through a little bit of Brian Enton's Twitter feed. He's got a lot of the latest and information on this case. So here is a bit of video that he did when he was at the house. It looked like there was a shift change or something.
Here and talk to you guys for a little bit. Oh, good. You guys were watching Banfield. So there's nothing. A lot of you are asking what's happening. There's nothing happening at the house unusual. This is just like they're doing shift change with the private security company that looks over the house, since it's still technically a crime scene. You can see they still have all the crime scene tape around the house. So this isn't unusual. One of the security guards will just leave and then another one will take over. So the big development today, which hopefully people have seen and can try to help police out with, and look at my tweet for all the specific information. I tweeted it just before this, but they are now looking for a white Hyundai Elantra that they believe was in the area of the house where the murders happened on the morning of the murders, which I think is November 13th. That's Sunday. So they're asking the public to help if they know anything about that. Hyundai, they don't have a license plate number. They just have a pretty generic description. The Hyundai Elantra, it's white, and there are details in the tweet.
Okay, so yeah, this was a post from him December 7th, because he went home and then for a couple days and he came back. So he also mentions that graduation was this weekend, and it's a lot going on, and but there's no suspect still, according to detectives. So, like I said, that video was on the 7th, and he also lists again the tip line and the email for tips. Here's the information. It says Moscow detectives are interested in speaking with the occupants of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra with an unknown license plate. Police say the vehicle was in the immediate area of the house where the unalivings took place. It happened in the early morning hours. So that has been going out for the last few days. And I'll show that poster here. So they don't have the, like I said, they don't have the picture of the exact Elantra. And then there was another vehicle that they said was at the scene, but it's not that vehicle that was seen. And then here is the 7th, which was the same day. That's when they came and they moved out personal items. And the police chief was there personally to oversee that um, happening. So, let's see, yeah, they were moving their personal belongings. I believe that was third Wednesday. So, and then of course that was when he talked to the Sigma Chi president, and they're still looking into that, from what I understand, the frat house situation. So that's still open, and then they released the body cam footage, which a lot of people are seeing some things in. So let me pull that up. Okay, so let me play this. This is from the police body cam, and then if you watch the background, some people aren't seeing it, and if you're on a cell phone, it is hard to see. It's definitely better on a laptop or a full-size monitor. So let me play this.
Why don't you guys all have to drink tonight?
Couple beers.
Beers?
Yeah.
Hard liquor or anything like that?
No.
Hey, is that beer?
What's up?
Is that beer in your hand?
Yeah, I'm 21.
You got the ID on you?
I don't.
Okay.
I'll take it back to my apartment if you need.
Okay.
Sorry.
You got a driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general.
I do have one, yeah.
What state is it through?
Idaho.
Idaho? Okay. I'm just going to check if everything's good. Since they're not open, I'll let you hang on to them.
Okay. So will I get charged with anything?
No,
or?
no.
Okay. Appreciate
But
it.
it's just enough for me to stop, check, make sure you're 21,
No worries.
walking
Yeah,
around
I
here in
get it.
public.
Alrighty.
Moscow 77, check one. What's that?
Am I going to take off? Or?
No, let me run this through dispatch, make sure you're actually 21 and give me a fake birthday or anything. Well, yeah.
Oh, buddy. That's funny.
Yeah, I think that's the first one I've seen.
Yeah.
One. So if that comes back good, yeah, you're free to go. Are these your boys?
No, I don't know them.
Okay. You guys taking off on me?
I didn't hear you. So
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry
thought
about
you were
that.
talking.
You all three turned around and I pointed my flashlight at you. You said, hey, come here. You guys all turned around and walked away.
I thought it was just like a fake person, honestly. Yeah, like
How many fake people are out here that you've experienced?
How's your night going?
Pretty good.
That's good.
Just trying to stay warm.
Is that y'all's car right there?
Gas. They downgraded us from patrol cars.
Gotcha.
They gave us hybrids to save on fuel.
There you go.
Smart move. Smart move.
That lets me know that actually exists. I'll catch you this, all right?
No worries.
Why don't you guys all have to drink tonight?
Couple beers.
Beers?
Yeah.
Hard liquor or anything like that?
No.
If you watch the background of where these three blurred out guys are, the home is kind of to the right, and there's supposedly a light that kind of flickers or goes off. So I'm gonna kind of play where we can see the background a bit here, and mute the sound here. When he turns back here, when he turns back to these kids, here we go. Supposedly there's a light in that window that we're seeing right here. Zoom in on it. This light here supposedly goes off. So let's see. And this call was within minutes of the crime happening. So that is a scary thought. So let's kind of watch the right here. Supposedly, I think it's a window. People are saying it's a car, but it's a window, I believe. Because it's too high. It looks like maybe the second or third floor, potentially, of the home. Potentially, someone turned off a light or closed the shades. That's what people are seeing. Again, I've seen it enlarged, but it's possible because it definitely is on and then it goes off. See, like again, we don't know that's really what it is, but that's what a lot of people are seeing. And like I said, I've seen it enlarged on Brooks's channel, Crime Lies, Lines and Lies. I will link to that her live that I watched her on the other day. It was really very good analysis on the again makes you think of the Kylie case where we were watching the camera, the fire cam. So some people see it something and some people aren't seeing much of anything. So that's kind of up to you because it's allegedly a light's on and then either fades or goes off. So yeah. And again, the Elantra we're looking for, I'm going to put the poster up here. They're still seeking out tips on that Elantra. And then one last thing that the PD released today. Okay, and one last piece I just wanted to throw in here as I close out the video is that Idaho police are warning of criminal charges for web sleuths engaged in harassing amid misinformation. So these are for anybody who is into some way out there stuff, and I'm not going to mention any names. But basically, they're saying police urge the internet true crime community to tone things down Friday. So this was yesterday, nearly 4 weeks after the unsolved slayings of 4 University of Idaho students captured national attention. Investigators have been monitoring online activity related to this ongoing and active case and are aware of the large amount of rumors and misinformation being shared, as well as harassing and threatening behavior toward potentially involved parties. Moscow police said in a statement Friday afternoon. They did not identify the potentially involved parties. Police say Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Xana Kernoodle, 20, and Ethan Chapman, 20, were unalived in a rental house on King Road, just steps off campus between 3 and 4 a.m. on November 13th. So, closing in on a month later, police have not publicly named any suspects or persons of interest. And they released a few details before Wednesday when they asked the public for help finding the occupant or occupants of the white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra seen near the victim's home around the time of the unalivings. Police say anyone in the Elantra may have critical information in the case. And then they have the tip line can be reached at 208-883-2180 or by email to tipline at ci.moscow.id.us. Digital media can be submitted at, and there's an fbi.gov/Moscow, Idaho. And then, of course, 2 other roommates were on ground level and they survived. A robust community of true crime followers have been discussing the case broadly across social media in Facebook groups, subreddits, Discord servers, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and elsewhere. Some groups are moderated, some aren't. Some permit speculation, others prefer confirmed details only. One Facebook group warns members, no posting family. Do not post anything that has to do with the victim's family. Doesn't matter if it's public record. And do not post pictures of people not directly involved in the case. Do not name names. They mentioned the subreddit, Moscow forum on Reddit. Instruct users not to post any personal information about anyone. And here's when we get through here. Okay, it says, but online speculation about possible persons of interest has led to the intimidation of unnamed parties who may or may not be associated with the case, according to police. And they're stating anyone engaging in threats or harassment, whether in person, online, or otherwise, needs to understand that they could be subjecting themselves to criminal charges, Moscow police said on Friday. Moscow Police Department cautions the public not to rely on rumors and remains committed to keeping the public informed. We urge reliance on official channels for accurate information. Investigators have named no suspects and maintain they will release only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation. So basically, if you're out there, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, whatever, they're asking that you not harass or start putting, people's names out there and doxing them and all that sort of stuff. So just be super, super careful with that, because I've seen a lot of it, and I do my best to keep away from all that stuff here on the channel. And that's why, if I do mention anything that's not fact, I say allegedly or my opinion. But at the same time, I don't like to put family or people out there that they're still investigating, because that's not our place. And this is such a horrific case. There's no reason for us to be putting these people out there. And I know that they put one of the ex-boyfriends, saying because it's rumored that he left the country. So we have no idea. So the bottom line is, I'm glad that Moscow PD is being, big on this. The bottom line is, people need to, it's fine to do some of this stuff, but we got to be careful with what you say, because these are people's lives. You can mess up their lives forever when they have nothing to do with this horrific crime. So I figured I'd end on that. And hopefully I got some information out to you guys. You guys probably heard most of it. I'm going to try to compile some more information, but that's kind of where things are. The Grub truck has that video out there. If you're interested, you could easily search for that on YouTube or in Google as well. They said pretty much they haven't figured out any of those people, even though people, again, see, that's why police are being careful. They're saying hoodie guys stalking them, all this other stuff. So we just got to be really, really careful not to, throw people potentially under the bus when they may not be involved in this at all. They may just be someone who was in the area, or may have associated with them at the party or the bar, or at the grub truck. So honestly, these people may have nothing to do with it, and we don't want to, screw up their lives. And I'm glad that the Moscow PD is taking it seriously. So, all right, guys, I want to thank you for checking out the channel. And if you like the content you're seeing here, I do appreciate it if you would hit subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. And with that said and done, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.